Hello, guys. Welcome to Cheenta Statistics Department. As we have promised you, we will be discussing with this science of statistics on the preparation on how to prepare for IIT JAM and ISI MStat. So we have with us. So my name is Srijit Mukherjee, and we have with us Vishal, who has cleared the ISI MStat this previous year. We have Saptarshi, we have who has cleared the IIT JAM and ISI MStat this year and the previous year, and we have Soham, uh, who has cleared IIT JAM just in two like 1 year back, 2 years back. Okay, so essentially we have a lot of interesting background actually. So although Shohom and Vishal are from stat background, Shoptoshi, I think you are from maths background, right?
Yeah, I am from CMI.
Yeah.
So
So he's from maths background. So you will also get an or like insight or get an insight on how to like really approach towards the statistics like examination. Although if you're trained in mathematics, which I think also gives an upper bound and an edge to the preparation because it's also mathematical in nature. So we will discuss. We will divide the whole session into two halves. First half we will discuss about IIT JAM, how to prepare for it, and the next half we will be discussing about ISI MStat, and we will almost follow the same set of questions for both of them, although it has some it's different in some sense. Okay, so I will first of all like start with the generic question that we have from the students, that what is the way like how much time do you think? So Saptoshi, I think it's I mean, I personally think being a stat student also, that if you are doing all everyday statistics like in your coursework, I think it gives like sort of I think it helps you in getting prepared in a natural, very natural way. Okay, I personally think so. But I will talk to like I will go to Saptarshi. That how did you like when did you start preparing for ISI MStat or IIT JAM? Being since you're from math background, so can you just enlighten us on that
yeah,
aspect?
actually the thing is every BSc program in mathematics, not only in some like specific places, has a course on probability, has a course on linear algebra, also has a course on analysis. So these topics get prepared naturally. Like in IIT JAM in mathematical statistics, you are not asked analysis, you are just asked what is calculus. So that part comes very naturally only. Now coming to the statistics part of the question, I actually took some elective stat courses in my third year, and for IIT JAM and ISI MStat, for especially IIT JAM, I would say that I started preparation 6 months before the exam date, and I had purchased an online study material, which is Edankil, which I followed very well, and it was just a very compact study material. Along with that, I followed
Okay.
some of the books like Casella Burgess, some standard textbooks. I went through the syllabus of JAM and then I started preparing. But at the
Yeah,
end,
I will come to the specific questions later on. Rather, I should like ask you that. Okay, 6 months you think is a good time for preparation of IIT JAM. Okay, being
yes,
from a non stat background.
yeah. 6 months is enough.
Okay, perfect. So 6 months is enough. So that's a very good, like very concise answer. So now for the, I will go to Vishal and Saptarshi one by one. So what do you think is a good time for preparation? Being a stat student, like being preparing for statistics exams. Vishal, yeah.
Well, I couldn't clear jam, so I don't think I should be saying that how
No,
long
no.
you
What
should take.
about ISIM stat?
ISI. ISI, so I started preparing about 8 to 9 months before the exam. So
Okay,
I mainly, yeah. So I'm quite comfortable in solving problems related to statistics. So I mainly focused on that. It's my strong part rather than compared to mathematics. So
okay,
yeah, I think 8 to 9 months.
okay. It's 8 to 9 months from us. Okay, from Vishal. So what about Shohob? What do you think?
I think 6 months is enough. Being a statistics student to start preparation. Uh,
Okay,
Generally, 2 years of coursework is more or less sufficient to know the basics of the exam. And the main thing people need to focus is the part of inference and estimation, basically. So that
oh,
part takes the majority of the time. And that part is generally taught in the third year, right? So in the fifth semester or third year. So
Okay.
people are new to that, and that takes up most of the time. So it's better to
Okay.
start early, but 6 months is enough.
Okay, so there's the average around lies like for IIT JAM and ISI. What do you think for ISI MStat? Same.
ISI, I think 2 months early, 8 months is
Okay,
more or
so
less
in
enough.
8 9 months for ISI MStat and for so what do you think about Saptarshi? Like Saptarshi, what do you think about ISI MStat? 6 months?
Yeah. So the first thing I would like to say this that see I would myself say that I was at a very advantageous position because of COVID. I got a lot of time to prepare. Generally,
Mm-hmm.
I if you take ISI MStat only, I would say 6 months is enough. But I got 6 months more after IIT JAM, which was a very advantageous for me because I am see like I am from a math background, right? I don't know much of about this statistics, so I was at a very advantageous position for this COVID. I got a lot of time to prepare the stats thing. So
Okay, so
yeah,
1 year you think is a very good time.
yeah, 1 year is for both the exams. 1 year is more than enough. More than enough.
Okay, okay, perfect. So yeah, so one of your like or someone is asking that how much is Saptarshi score and what was his rank? Anjali is asking. Thank you for this question, Anjali. Yeah.
So, so my score in IIT JAM, you mean? If you mean IIT JAM, my score was 73.33 in
Okay.
mathematics and my rank was 7. So,
Okay, thank you, Saptarshi, for I hope we got your doubt cleared, Anjali. So yeah, so we will coming to this question next. That so we have got an idea of okay, we need from 6 months to 1 year time at least to prepare, and at most, I mean, it's a very good bound to say confidence interval. So to prepare for this both these exams. Okay, that's an answer that we many of our students wanted to know. So what's next is that as people have asked that uh so to start preparing we need to know like what is the goal. Okay, so how much do you think is the score to get a decent rank and at least an admission in IITs, first IITs? Yeah, let's go into IIT first. uh so Shoham and Shoptarshi.
yeah, so in normal years, what happens, which was exceptional to this year, if people get around 60 marks for general students, if they get around 60, it is actually very good to uh, like clear IIT JAM. This year, the see everywhere generally for the seat in IIT goes till 55 or 56 around like that. But this year, due to the COVID situation, since IIT JAM was held at least 6 months before IIT before ISI MStat. So that is the reason only 42 students were admitted. I mean, the students who left IIT, their seats could not be fulfilled by the other students. So generally, 60 should be the target. I personally feel because 60 is safe score and it's decent also, and it's gettable, pretty much gettable.
Okay, what do you think, Shom? Thank you, Shoptarshi.
Yeah, considering the recent scores and the recent ranks, score versus rank prediction, so it is seemingly an increasing trend. So basically, the higher you score, the safer you will become. So basically, yeah, now considering this year, I think 60 would be a safe score. But in our year, I think it was a bit, the bar was a bit low. It was about 52 3. So people who got more or less greater than equal to 53, 52, they would get a seat in the first round itself.
So we have got the following question answers that 6 to 1 year is almost okay. I mean to prepare, and we have got that 60 is a good score this time, and it's an increasing trend. So 53 was the score in Shoham's year. This year, what was your score? Like what was the bound for your your year, Shaptarshi?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't get what you
Like
said.
what was the lower bound for getting into IITs like on in your year?
Yeah, see, I know the person who got into who got 42, who got 38 rank, and he was the last person to be admitted in IIT Bombay. His score was around 59.33 was his score. But actually,
Okay.
I personally think what Shoham is saying. I just want to interrupt one thing. That see what he is saying is correct, but the thing is, you have to understand one thing that this year the second and the third rounds of admission actually basically had no use, because the students who got into ISI, their seats could not be filled by the people who had scored around 50 or 51 rank, because of the difference in the dates of exam. Generally what happens, the people who get into ISI, they withdraw their seats. This year we couldn't. That's why 50 you find the trend is going higher. This is just because of this pandemic situation. If the exams were in time,
Okay, so let's assume that it's good for the students to assume the trend is going higher. Otherwise, they will not work hard. Okay, so so yeah, let's assume 60 is a good score, lower bound to get it. Okay, let's skip 60. That's a good score. So now my next question goes to you guys. That suppose you are like how to get the 60 marks that the student wants to know. Okay, so how to get the 60 marks. So my question, and students question rather, on students behalf, is that like how to approach the 60 marks in the examination hall. What do you think? I will go to Soham first, and then Saptarshi. How to attempt the 60 marks, like how to attempt the 60 marks. Like there are three
The
parts, right?
main,
MCQ, MSQ, and NAT, right? So what do you think, like what do you think is the way out?
I think the strategy should vary individually, right? So basically, uh, each one of you must prepare a strategy before the exam, how to approach each of the sections, because there are three sections and the pattern is quite fixed for I mean 5 to 6 years almost. The same pattern of questions are coming. So basically, what I did was I started with the NAT section and then went to the
So why do you
MCQ
think
and
NAT
last,
section was the
because I think since there are no options provided, there is no chance of guessing the option or uh, natural elimination of options, right? So you need to solve the problem to get to the answer. So it is
okay?
quite time consuming. So that's
I
why
see.
yeah, the first hour should be devoted to NAT and then move on to MCQ and last MSQ, because in MSQ the options are quite confusing.
Okay,
And
so NAT, MCQ, and MSQ. That's I would have, if I would have been your student, I would have followed that only. So yeah, perfect. So any other thing you want to tell? So 1 hour for an ad, and what is the time you wanted to devote to MCQ and MSQ?
look, I as far as I can remember, in MSQ there were 10 questions. So basically, and in MCQ there were 30 questions. So you need to split the 2 hours accordingly, according to your preparation. So basically, if you first start with MCQ, I would say devote 1 hour 15 minutes to that section. Okay, and for MSQ you need to devote the rest. Obviously, you can't
Okay, so
just
1 hour for
divide
total time of the exam is, like you have
three
told,
hours.
1 hour, 3 hours. So 1 hour for, you told, for NAT, 1 hour 15 minutes for MCQ, and the rest of the 45
The
minutes
rest
for
for MSQ.
MSQ. Okay. So if one suppose takes more time to complete the MCQ, do you think is it good for like?
Yeah, the main focus should be if you solve a problem, you do that correctly, not necessarily guess and go to the next one. The main goal is not to do as many problems as you can, but do as many correct as you can. So that should be your main motive. So
Perfect.
the problems you attempt should be correct. That should be
Perfect.
the
Perfect.
goal.
So yeah, I like that approach. Like since NAT is a like more focused type. Okay, I like it. So as Debarga has asked that should one concentrate more on MCQ and NAT rather than MSQ? Shom is suggesting that. Now let's go to Shoptoshi to get his views. Shoptoshi.
yeah, so my approach to this exam was a bit different than Shoham. So what he said is
Okay.
that for the correct ones, I did the same thing in MCQ. See, the first thing which I did of the which I like followed the pattern was the first 50 marks has negative marking. The next 50 marks does not have a negative marking. So you are always at a loss if you don't do a question in the second half. Even if you can't, you should guess, because you are not losing anything at the end of the day, because
So
it
how,
is
what
not.
is the second half consisting of? Like, what can you
Second half
tell us?
is 10 questions of MSQ and 20 questions of NAT, which is the numerical thing. I attempted in the natural order. I started MCQ, then went to MSQ, then went to NAT. but I did not have a specific thing. But during MCQs, I was bit serious, more serious, because as Soham said, it is important to do less, and it's also important to do correct. But in MSQ and NAT, you should, I mean, I think at least you should try as much as you can, because see, if you are hitting a wrong answer, you are not losing anything. If you are hitting a right answer, you are getting 2. So there is no point of leaving out a question in NAT or MSQ, because at the end of the day, you are not losing anything, right? So I followed that, and I did, like, we have to be very
Okay.
serious while MCQs.
Okay, so on a decision theory approach, makes much more sense. So yeah, okay. So there are two approach style to this. One is Soham's part and another is Saptarshi's part. So both told that NAT MS one. Soham told NAT MS MCQ MSQ because NAT requires much more focus. MCQ you can actually eliminate options. So if you see, okay, if you have some ideas and prior knowledge, prior belief, then you can sort of delete that option and do it much more quickly. And also Saptarshi's approach is that NAT and MSQ, if you don't solve it, then you are losing on some profit, which you shouldn't. So essentially, so I think NAT is a good option to start with, because NAT is also in a preferable position for Saptarshi's and Soham. So NAT, MCQ, and MSQ, I think is a good way, an optimum way to go about it. Okay, so yeah, so we have got an idea. So, 1 year for 6 months to 1 year for preparation, 60 marks at least in the exam, and our preparation approach. So this is the excellent, not preparation approach, but the question attempting approach. Okay, so that's a very good concise way. Now I should go to how to get this. So we should now go to the point that how to prepare for this. Rather, what are the things you should do, and what are the things you should like? What is the preparation strategy? And there are a lot of questions and doubts in students' mind in this. So we have. Okay, so we will come to that, Abhijit, slowly, because it's like really 1 month. So I will come to that. Nanjali is telling us negative positive ratio of marks, also considering deciding rank. If two people have the same marks, if I do wrong in MSQ and NAT, so will that be considered in that ratio? Did you hear the question? So I'm giving the question here. So as negative positive ratio of marks also considered in deciding rank. If two people have the same marks, so if you do wrong in MSQ and NAT, so will that be considered in the ratio? What do you think, the IITians?
See, I have not don't have a very clear idea on this, what she asked, but yes, there is some obviously a tie breaking rules. There are a lot of tie breaking rules for jam, but the thing is, when you are getting a mark of 60, as we said, these rules don't come into picture, because you will automatically get a rank.
Yeah, what I personally think, the probability of getting a tie is zero almost. Probability, since I am
No,
assuming
I won't say it is
something
zero, but like, see, the point is that I would suggest not to think on this kind of things in the preparation. This is rather a negative strategy to prepare. From preparation, you to
No,
start
no,
thinking.
let's not take a negative strategy. But she had a question. But what Anjali, here people are suggesting is that rather focus on getting more marks rather than focusing on thinking that what should happen if it's a tie. So tie has a very less ratio, I guess, less probability, I guess. But yeah, thanks for the question. Shom, do you want to add something to it, or do we want to move on to the next question?
I think the negative marking scenario comes only for MCQ. So basically, they check how many wrong MCQs you do, basically. So to break the ties.
Okay, okay. So how many wrong MCQs you do? That's a good strategy. I like it. Okay. So next question. Thanks, Anjali, for this question. So next question is Abhijit is also asking, and other people are also asking, that how to prepare in the last 2 months and 1 month, and then I will go to the whole year program. So last 1 month is left for IIT JAM, less than 1 month. So how do you prepare in 1 month, last 1 month, and last 2 months? Yeah, Saptarshi and Shoham. Then I will go to Saptarshi.
So basically, the last month is devoted to mock tests, and you need to revise all the concepts basically. So so that you can more or less use those in jam. So I would suggest you try to prepare a cheat sheet of what topics you have already studied, so that you can use those things quickly to solve the problems, and give more or less 3 to 4 mock tests in January. So that would be a good way to uh, use the time.
So mock test and you see revision for cheat sheets, right? This thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Saptarshi? Yeah, I come to the questions, Ayan and Anjali soon.
Yeah. So the thing is, in the last 2 months, I would say that mock test and revision. And one thing I want to say that, see, in this kind of exams like JAM, understanding of basic concepts is more than enough. But basic concepts have to be, matlab, you have to be okay, very confident with the basic concepts. You don't need to do something very different and very difficult. But basic concepts, if you know all of them, then it is absolutely okay with just doing the mock test and planning for the exam. That's all. You don't need to read a lot of higher stuff or other things. Just be basic, just read through the basic concepts and have time management. That is the point.
Okay. So Abhijit is asking, hasn't. Can you just mute? Yeah, Saptarshi. Okay. Abhijit is asking that he hasn't covered up the statistics portion as yet. Is it possible for him to get IIT JAM in 2021, or he should try for it next year? But he has a good, strong base in mathematics. Do you think it's a? What do you think, Saptarshi?
See, I would say something that like in the inference and estimation, my score was very poor in IIT JAM. Like out of 26, I got some 4, but in maths part, whatever I did, it was correct. So I think the maths part also includes probability, in my view, probability and probability distributions. So even if you don't know estimation and hypothesis testing, if you learn the probability distributions part and probability very well, along with the math parts, I think I actually didn't. I actually got very less marks in statistics. I didn't do two. I did 2 or 3 only right out of all the statistics questions. Inference, hypothesis testing, I made mistakes in almost all of them, but it didn't matter because my maths part almost everything was correct. So I
Yeah.
think it's that's a
Okay,
very good chance.
that's a good strategy, but that's really hard, disheartening for me as a statistics student. So don't take his. I'm just joking. Yeah, do it whatever you like for the exam, but try to learn the statistics. It's important. It's beautiful too. Okay, so do you have any take on this question? Like, is it really possible to cover up the statistics portion and
I mean, you can attempt marginally, but that would not be an optimal plan because you don't know what question would be coming, right? So,
no,
relying
there is an
only on,
average distribution of scores, like in probability and in in
uh,
statistics. Yeah.
I almost have forgotten how much I have
Okay,
scored
I will share
because
that soon. I will share that soon. Okay, so I hope you got your question, Abhijit. I am sure. Like well, like if you do good in mathematics, you have a good chance. Okay, but yeah. So Aninda, we have already discussed. Please see it from the first part. We have told that 60 marks is a good marks for clearing IIT JAM. Okay. This year. So I think yeah, the experts have told here. Yeah, I think Vishal, you can also input your. It doesn't mean that you haven't cleared IIT JAM. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't input your view. You should also input that why you think you didn't clear IIT JAM, so that like the students here, like getting like enlightened from that. So yeah, Vishal, any ideas? Why you think that what you could have done better to clear IIT JAM? What do you think?
Well, I made a lot of silly mistakes. Also, the calculator is a bit different in this IIT JAM exam, unlike the regular calculators. So it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to figure out how that works. Right. So that was quite time consuming. In the NAT, I was hardly able to solve about 5 to 10 questions correctly. I made a lot of mistakes. So I would say that you should keep a cool mind during the exam, and you should, as Saptarshida and Somda said, you should focus on getting the questions right rather than solving a lot of questions. That's what I think.
Right, that makes sense. So don't do silly mistakes, and also I think they people tell that we have to use a very quick minds, we have to do very quick calculations. Do you think it's really important or it's a myth? Shoham and Shaptashi. Shoham.
for some questions it is required basically because you know basically you need to calculate something, but they pose the question in such a way that it will take time the calculation. So if you know some pre-existing results, it would be easier because you just plug in the values, you get the answer. And if you go to calculate that using your theory, that would take time. So I will say it's better to prepare some of the recurring formulas which you know would come, so that you can directly plug in the values and get the answer.
Yeah, I think in this aspect, mock test and cheat sheet that what Soham has told, we will try to provide a cheat sheet from Cheenta's department, statistics department to you guys, like for all maybe soon. But yeah, I think that's a very important strategy for it to like speed up your process. Okay, that's a very good suggestion. We have got a good suggestions over here, and people are telling that. So people are mainly trying to find shortcuts. So do you think any shortcuts exist? So for Saptarshi told that if you are very good and do all the problems in mathematics correct, I think that's quite good. Like even if you are a bit weak in statistics, that's for the mathematics. Good news for the mathematics students. So do you think any shortcut exists? I don't preferably like to focus on shortcuts, but like do we in short by shortcut students means that like can they really focus on like leave out certain topics and focus on some certain things, certain specific things like estimation specific things and stuff. What do you think, guys?
See, I don't think that there is any shortcut. And as I said about estimation of hypotheses, I actually say that I actually prepared for them. See, I didn't leave them out. I prepared for them. But in the exam time, I found myself in a very deep ocean. So and I didn't understand any of the questions in stats. I mean, I couldn't solve many questions. So I tried to do all, but I messed up most of the questions. So it was not that I deliberately made this plan. I had to make one thing sure that if I'm doing something in statistics, in mathematics, I have to do that correctly, because that is what will give me marks. But instead, I was not very sure of getting marks, though I consider probability and probability distributions. I consider that in math as well.
Okay. So I have some wait, let me okay, anyway. So yeah, we will continue discussion. I think one second. I will just share the screen one second, guys, of what is the distribution of the problems. Just a minute, guys. Okay. Anyway, so we will move ahead to the next question. Anjali, yeah, Anjali. Okay, so Anjali was asking that yeah, as AMSK and ANAT has not negative marking, should I attempt all the questions in this section? So Anjali, Shoptoshi told that yes, you should like at least try, because if you don't, then you miss out the opportunity to guess and get right. Okay. So, but Soham told that you should focus on that first, and I think you should focus on that first, okay, according to both their strategies, and then go to MCQ and then MSQ. That's what his suggestion is. Okay, now you can follow your own, of course. Okay, so you should prepare. So the borderline, like this central line is you should prepare, and everything. You should not leave out topic, but it depends on how you approach the problems in um, like in the examination hall. Okay, so that's what it matters. Okay, so okay, let's move on to the next question. The next question is that how do you like start preparing from scratch for IIT JAM? Shoptoshi, I think he is from non-stat background, so I think it's a good opportunity for him to explain to his fan base over
Yeah,
here.
as I said before, that any math course would consider analysis. Analysis is not required in the exam. Basic calculus and also linear algebra is covered in the math portion in any BSc program. Then probability in today's days is considered is like taken care of in any math program. So other than that, what you have to do is you have to read probability distributions very seriously, because if you are not good with distributions, it is very difficult to be good in estimation or testing of hypothesis. So in those 6 months, I tried to learn probability very seriously.
Exactly. So also we follow exactly the same method. Soham is a faculty and Soham Vishal are here like associated with Cheenta. So in Cheenta we actually focus on this. Soham, do you want to say something about that? We devoted an entire 6 months for probability only from June to November, and then we just covered statistics in 1-2 months because we have seen it so much simple, guys. So that's what we focus on. And I think I go with Saptarshi perfectly, because if you are good in probability, I think like statistics becomes really easy for you. What do you think, Shubham?
Yeah, likewise, basically. So, if you cover statistics, basically, if you cover probability theory, basically the basics of probability theory, and you know the transformations, you can easily go to the inference part basically because it doesn't require too much knowledge, theoretical knowledge, the amount of syllabus which is covered in JAM. So the only things you should remember are the tricks, are the transformations which can make your life easier and
Mhm.
nothing else.
Who wants to make your life easier? Take advice from him. So yeah. Um, so people are asking what book should we follow. So for probability, tell me a book, guys. Soham, Vishal, and Saptarshi.
I personally followed Rohatgi and Saleh for
Okay.
probability study.
Vishal.
I followed my class notes.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Saptarshi.
See, there's a question, Casella or Rohatgi. I would say that Rohatgi Saleh is way too tough for IIT JAM level. Okay. So for IIT JAM, basic probability thing is you can read it from Hoyle Portstone Introduction to Probability Theory. It's a very student friendly book. And Casella Burger you can follow for statistical inference, and probability part is also, distribution part is also very good in study in this Casella. But Rohatgi is very difficult if you consider only the IIT JAM part. I did Casella Rohatgi, but I didn't follow it for the IIT JAM thing.
Okay, perfect. So, so I personally follow in my classes. We personally follow. So rather, I should say I. First course in probability by Sheldon Ross. Okay, it's a really basic book, and I love it because it's very student friendly. So yeah, so I think that's I personally prefer that book. And what do you think? Shom actually suggested the book of by Professor Blitzstein. So what do you think about that book? Shom, is it good for IIT Jam or?
That is basically, if you take probability to be a recreation, you can easily read that book. Because if you love probability theory, that's a great book to study. But for exam purposes, I don't think it is ideal to study that.
Okay, so we
Of
have a
course, if you're
good.
interested,
Okay, so okay, thank you, Shubham. So we have a good suggestion set. Rohit Saleh is greater than IIT Jam in Sims, and also I think Hoel Portstone, Sheldon Ross, and a bit of Rohit Saleh is a good book. I will tell a very good book. I personally follow it for also in statistics. It's John A. Rice study mathematical statistics and data analysis. So it has a good introduction in in probability part. Okay, so it's good for revision. I usually follow it in my classes in Cheenta statistics department. So yeah. Okay, so I hope you got it. Now, Devargo is asking, is the part of multivariate distributions include maximum masses should be given much more importance? Like no, so what is asking that normal? So there are two distributions that we usually do: multivariate normal and multinomial. So I think it's a bit important. I think problems come in IIT ISI MStat. I guess one problem came from ISI MStat. I guess. So what do you think for IIT JAM? Is it important? Multivariate distributions? If it comes, just one question, maybe I don't know. You're on mute. Yeah.
I don't. I have not encountered many problems in this field basically. So I think bivariate normal and perhaps multinomial distribution would be enough. Multivariate normal, I don't think will
Oh,
be in JAM.
yeah. I think bivariate normal or multinomial distribution. I also think these are the only two stuff. Yeah. And also, what do you think? So we have discussed probability for statistics, Kasselberger, and personally, to me, John A. Rice is is very good. There are
You
also a
can
lot of good books.
also suggest Mood Greville Bose. That is also a good book
Oh,
for
can you write it down in the
preparation
post
purpose.
comment? Mood Gravelska. What is the name of the book? Write down in the comment. Okay, so Shoptish is from math background. I will not ask him what mathematics books he followed. What do you think, Shohom and Vishal? What mathematics books you should follow? One should follow for clearing the study, like the real analysis and linear algebra part for IIT JAM.
For linear algebra, I think Rao Bhimasankaram is more than enough. So for real analysis,
It's a very hard book, I guess. I mean, it's not really. I mean, if it's done for
no,
one
no,
year, I
no.
think.
You don't have to cover all the sections basically.
What is the
The
subject?
sections which are basically in JAM, I think you need to study only the linear independence, the basis vectors and all, and linear transformations. So for the first part, for basis vectors and independence, you can solve the exercises of Bhimasankaram. They are not that tough. But for linear transformations, I would suggest that you go for another book like Incel Spins or something, so that it is easier to
Okay.
understand.
What do you think, Vishal? Do you will still class notes?
Yeah, regarding the real analysis, I personally followed the book by S. Malikan Arora. Also, yeah, I personally followed that book along with my class notes, which obviously. And for regarding the linear algebra, I think, as Shom said, Rao and Bhima Sankaran is more than enough. So it's a very standard book. Most of the universities follow that book itself. So I think that book is good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have got a good list of books over here, and we have a question. It's like a generic question though. Last month tips is one of average comment out the whole subject. I think Shom has already told mock tests and revision and and a cheat sheet. You can make it yourself just from revision's perspective. Okay, so that's what we have for you. But also, people coming to this part, I have another question from people that what one can do after solving the jam questions and the past year jam questions. What else one can do? Like, what are the other question sources? What are the other um, problem sources? Do you have any suggestions, guys? Shoham, Saptarshi, and Vishal. Problem sources mainly. Similar problem sources for IIT JAM.
Okay, so I would say that in internet, not only past few years, you can take the question paper of past 15 to 16 years. You have to just filter the questions a bit, so that not everything is relevant in today's syllabus. Past 15 to 16 years, you have to find it hard, but it is available on internet. And other than that, I
You mean
actually
from 205 to 2028?
I think from 2004 only it is available as far as
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's available. The pattern you have to filter. I said no, there are many questions on other topics as well which are not relevant in today's syllabus, but you have to filter them out. And other thing is that giving mock tests and being giving mock tests is actually very good and more than enough actually, because I told you I actually had a taken a notes from Edunkel and there I were given mock tests.
Okay.
So there you face the type of questions similar to jam type and even tougher. So in the exam it becomes easier for you to do the thing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Shaptashi, show me your take on that.
For mock tests, I would suggest that you keep 2 or 3 papers of IIT JAM recent years, which you have not solved before, so that you can attempt them at the last phase of your preparation. And there are many mock test links basically available in the internet. I think there was a. I think Vishal knows this better basically. VPM classes or something, which he suggested.
Yeah, I took up a mock test, series of mock tests on VPM classes. It's also like Eduncle, but the mock tests were quite error prone. I found that. So if I don't know if Srijita would have means started the mock test series in Cheenta much before, it would have been beneficial for me. So yeah, I think the mock tests are good as long as the questions are correct, which in my case I was quite unfortunate. Most of the questions were error prone. So
Okay, so yeah, regarding mock test, we have actually a mock test program going on in Cheenta. So if you're interested, you can let us know. You can go to our website www.cheenta.com. You can go to the statistics department and yeah, you can see it over there. Oh yes, Debarg is asking, should we focus on JRF questions? I think that is important for ISI MStat. I will come to that question soon. Okay, and people are asking what to happens, like how to keep your confidence up during the examination. Shoham and Shaptoshi and Vishal. Shoham.
How to see the thing is it's important, like just getting involved with the problems is very important than getting involved with the exam. Once you start thinking about the exam, that's where the problem comes in. You should involve yourself with the problems. I personally feel that, and not to think much, just solve the problems and come back. Not to think. Strategies have to be made before, not during the time of the exam. So don't think much on the strategies during the exam. That can confuse you if you are under a lot of pressure. It can create pressure on you. So it's just I will just say being involved with the problems rather than being involved with the exam. That's important. I mean,
Okay. So tension nahi
That's
lene
the
ka wala
mistake I
approach.
made.
Okay, yeah. So tension nahi lene ka, okay. So just give and enjoy the problems. That's also we prefer to give. Yeah. So Shom, do you have this tension nahi lene ka wala approach or something else?
Basically, I took too much tension during the exam, so that's what ruined my score. But the thing is that once you start solving questions in whatever section you attempt first, the confidence slowly builds up. So try to solve easier questions first so that you can get rolling, basically. So I would suggest that.
Yeah. So this is how. So now make your go and make your strategy. Okay. That's it. So now Saptarshi's fan Akshay is asking, what should one do to become confident in statistics? Only if one knows basic statistics. So Saptarshi, please address to your fan.
I am not at all confident in statistics when I gave the IT JAM exam. So I said I got 4 out of 26. 26. So that is the point. I was not very confident in statistics. I read everything, but I did well in math. That made it enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for the questions. Okay, so we have almost covered all the questions over here, guys. Almost all the questions. Let's see if you have any other questions. We have got books, where to start questions apart from those mock tests. People are telling enough. And yeah, so another generic question is that we have done the cutoff. Yeah, another generic question is that uh, how much like what to do like how to do this college and side by side preparation, because during lockdown it was like different scenario, now it's different scenario. So what do you think, guys?
For a statistics student, I think the syllabus which JAM covers is basically the first 2 years of your study and inference from your third year. So there would be many topics in your third year like ANOVA or like survey sampling in many colleges. So I think if you focus too much on JAM, those topics might get hampered a bit in your fifth semester. So don't worry about those because you'll get enough time to study beyond BSc. Okay, so I'll suggest that you should focus more in the last 2-3 months in your fifth semester, say from October to December. You should slowly move on to your JAM mode. So you start more problem solving in DL analysis, linear algebra, so that you can brush up your topics and focus less on your college topics. You can study more in MSc basically. All those topics would again come in your MSc.
Perfect. So that's a good suggestion for statistics students. Vishal, same suggestions for statistics students.
Yeah,
What do you
it's
think?
more or less same. Yeah,
Okay.
I think if you are giving JAM, you shouldn't focus more on the sample survey and the sampling techniques and methods. Yeah, like you should go into JAM mode from the beginning of January itself. It would be good for you.
Okay, perfect. What do you think, Shaptarshi, for non-stat students?
See, for non-stat students, it's actually very difficult because the coursework is completely different from the thing which is which is the topics in the jam. So only thing I would say is to work hard in this last 7 months. I mean, because BSc topics in our maths are much different than what is going to be asked in jam. So I think the main focus should be on the topics in jam because I focused more on jam than in the BSc program. I would say in the third year.
Perfect. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. Okay, so we have almost covered all the questions. Arun's question is, what according to is good and safe attempts. Okay, see, good and safe attempts depending upon your knowledge. So if your knowledge base is good, I mean, whatever you know, try to do that from the easy to hard stuff. That's it. I mean, depends upon what is a good and safe attempt. But as Shaptoshi has already told that the last 50% of the 50 questions, that is 10 MSQ and 20 NAT, is zero negative marking. So I think that's a good way out for you to guess a bit, which is not really recommended because it need to be very precise in the last. You cannot really guess a good NAT question. Okay, so you can guess MCQ. Okay, so let's move ahead to. So I hope you have no other. Do you have any other questions, guys? Do you have any other questions? Otherwise, we will move on to the ISI MStat preparation. No. Did you have any other questions? Okay, so just give me a minute. So let me share my screen. Just a minute. Is my screen shared? Yeah. Just a minute. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen, guys? Yeah. It's a like infinite loop over here. Let's move on to the this preparation part. So as you can see, guys, here we have probability in IIT 39%. Okay, I have made a like average over all the next like 25 all the last 15 years. Okay, and 26% is the real analysis and linear algebra is 11%. So you get how much percentage over here? 11 plus 13, 50, 76% from IITs only, from mathematics part according to Saptarshi, and you have the rest of the percentage from like rest of the 20% from statistics and high school mathematics. So people are giving much more focus to probability and much more focus to like mathematics. Okay, so I think if you are quite good in probability and mathematics, I think you have a very good chance in getting into IIT with a very good distance rank. Okay, without that, with that tension nil approach. Okay, I think that should be a good way out and very safe procedure for you. So which book should we follow? A standard distribution like so there's no good fixed book, but you can really follow it from Sheldon Ross. It has a very good description of that. Each other standard deviation. It has a like there's nothing much more to do, but yeah, like you can do some like standard deviation like standard things from that. Also, you can like really you have a Google over there. All the entire knowledge is in Google, so you can just search about the distribution and read from Google. Simple. I would have done that. I think everyone would have done that too, and make your own notes. That makes much more sense. Okay, so since there are no questions for IIT JAM, and all the best to you guys who are giving IIT JAM 2021. And let us know how it goes, and also please share the question paper with us so that we can upload the solutions as soon as possible for you. And yeah, we can start preparing. And yeah, anyways, so for ISI MStat. Okay, so we will now move into a question which is very common to ISI MStat and IIT JAM, and we will slowly move towards the paradigm of ISI MStat. So which is which really lacks some good guidance in the like in this like students community who are like preparing for it. So the next question that we have the students have is that what really do you think like how do this how do ISI MStat preparation and IIT JAM preparation differ from one another? So does it differ, or what do you think really matters more? What is different? Vishal.
Yeah, regarding the MCQs, I found that in the ISI MCQ questions, they were quite precise. They were quite short, and like as you know, calculators are not allowed in ISI, so you can solve it by hand itself. And like if you can grasp the concept, like what they're trying to say in the question quickly, so you'll be able to solve it fast, and I don't think you would face any problems. So regarding the MCQs, I personally solved uh, the last 15 MCQs. They were from stat, and focused on the first 15 in the later phase. So that was
Okay,
my.
why do you think that's a good strategy? So let's first go into the way we have covered for ISI MStat. So for IIT JAM, okay. So if I go to ISI MStat, we have a very large percentage of from even same estimation theory 27%. And yeah, so a lot of percentage from statistics actually in ISI MStat. But what do you think preparation for, let's go from like, how much time do you think 1 year people have told is a good time? So how much score do you think Vishal and Saptarshi you think is a very good score for ISI MStat in PSA section and PSB section? So I'm taking down notes. I don't
Yeah,
take down notes in classes, but I take down notes while like having live. That's good. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. Regarding the PSA section, so if you don't attempt a question, you get 1 mark, right? So here
Mhm.
I would suggest that if you don't guess, like don't guess the answer. So if you know, uh, then tick it, or if you don't know, so I think leaving it out will be a better option. And I would say that the last 15 question focuses on the statistics part, and I personally find it easy compared to the first 15. So I think that was my strategy. Like
Okay, so what do you think is a good score in PSA?
PSA. See, I after giving the exam, I was quite afraid, so I didn't verify my answers with the answer key. So, like I have heard that most of my friends who are studying in ISI, they scored around I would say 65 to 70.
65 to 70. Okay, what do you think, Shaptoshi, for PSA?
First thing is that I would say that what Vishal said is actually correct. It's very straight. 15 marks and 15 questions in the first in PSA will be on maths and 15 questions in stats. Okay. Now, considering a good score, I would say that see there's a high chance of messing up in the second half. So I think getting around 80 or 90 would be easier. My target was around getting 80 or 90. And I think if you get 80 or 90, you are in a much safer position, because see, at the end of the day, result will be based on all the three, right? So if you see, if PSA is much easier to do than PSB, so I think PSA you should, if you are trying to give the exam, score higher in PSA, because scoring higher in PSB may not be that easy actually. So PSA, but you have to be very good with statistics. Like I said, the thing for JAM, this will not work in ISI. ISI, you have to be very good with stats.
Yeah. So of course you need to be good since for
Yeah,
in
so
study.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's not 65 to 70 at all. It's actually a bit above. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So it's like Shaptashida said, it's 75 to 80. I would suggest that.
75 to 80, yeah. So 75 to 80 is a good score, I think. I also think. Shoham, what do you think? So what do you think? Like, what is a good strategy for the students, and what mistakes you think you have made in while giving ISM that exam? What will you suggest your students?
Basically, the PSA part went for all of us more or less. In our year, basically, we scored almost all of us scored within the 75 to 90 range, and few of them also scored above 90. So the thing was, in the PSB part, the mistake I made was a silly mistake in reading the question. There was a question in something called something in the elections, about a combinatorics question maybe. So the thing was, I didn't read the question properly. It was given that the elections would be held from May to July. Okay, so I thought it was from May to June. So the entire problem I had done correctly, but I had evaluated that in a much lesser number of days. Basically, n had to be 60. I had plugged in 30. So the answer was incorrect basically, but the approach was more or less fine. So the thing I need to say for ISI is that you need to be precise with your answers. It is not in the case of VStat, as you can also conquer in that, basically that they more or less look for your approaches. But in MStat, I see that they not only look at your approaches, but they also see how you go to the exact solution to that. So you need to keep in mind both the things, the approach and also the final answer. So
Mhm.
I think I lacked in that bit a bit, but my interviews went well, so I can presume that my subjective part was the one to ponder basically.
Okay.
I would wish to add one more thing. I would wish to add one more thing. As Soham said, it is very important to see the question many times and then answer in ISI MStat, because I have made mistakes in 3 questions. I marked them correct. I knew that I had made the mistake, but I couldn't change them because it's offline. In IIT JAM, I made a lot of mistakes in the first time, but I remember that I checked the mistake and I could change the answer. So in IITGM, there is a possibility of changing the answer. In ISI MStat, there is no possibility of changing the answers. So if if I've marked it wrong, it is wrong. Finished. So I would suggest people to be more sincere with the PSA part while marking in MStat. Then in IITGM, you can change always.
Okay, that's a very good suggestion for the students, I guess. Okay, so we have the PSA part 75 to 90. Okay, is a good range, and also now let's move on to the PSB part. So what strategies do you have for PSB part? Like PSB part is entirely different. Many people may not have covered it because they are not used to writing subjective stuffs and things. So what will you suggest, guys? So see, Coach Home, you have been called to ISI interview, right? So I think you are in a, like, you can give suggestions for ISI, of course. So for written part. So Saptarshi, Vishal, and Soham, what do you think one by one? Soham, what do you think for PSB part?
For the PSV part, I think you should be in a good practice to write rigorous proofs. Because after JAM, your main focus is ISI. So I would say you should dedicate those months to writing proofs. Okay, so basically, you should not have a hole in your proof. Suppose you get the idea of writing, you get the idea of the problem, but whenever you are writing something, you are missing some valuable lines, like you're missing some reasons why you are writing that line. So I should suggest that you should not leave any holes in your proof. And I don't
So how do
think
you
that
suggest, like, how do you suggest students
quantity of
that?
problems don't matter basically, because look, I think you need to solve 6 problems compulsorily. So I would suggest that 4 to 5 problems, if you do precisely and correctly, you have a fair chance to qualify for interview. So
Four
I
to
would
five.
say quality over quantity matter.
Okay, quality over quantity. That's a very good suggestion. Shoptarshi and Vishal, this time you didn't have interviews. Okay, so what do you suggest? The next time there'll be interviews. Okay, don't worry, guys. So I will also talk to Soham about interviews later on, not in this video, but before ISIM said about interviews. So Soham, Shoptarshi and Vishal, what do you think about PhD part? 4 to 5 out of 6 is a good option.
Yeah, I solved 5.5 questions. So yeah, it's I think
You
five or
are
six
sure of the
questions is
quality.
yeah. I made sure that I solved them correctly. So if you are able to solve 4 or 5 questions correctly, I think you'll be called to the interview. And one more thing I would like to add, that in ISI, this sample survey is quite important. It was my savior, right? Sample survey and this linear regression portion. So I think you should prepare them
Linear?
quite well. Linear regression portion, like finding the MLEs and stuff of beta cups. Uh, so I think these two things were my savior compared to, like, they are not included in the JAM, but in the ISI, it's quite important. Like,
Okay. So yeah, so sample survey and linear regression ka like statistical inference part. Okay, that makes sense. So what do you think, Shaptoshi?
Yeah, I would start by saying that it's correct what Vishal said. If you see the last 6 years paper, the regression question is there in every question paper, and all the problems are actually easy. Easy for someone who does not know proper regression like me. I didn't know proper regression. I still don't know, but I did it. I just knew how to solve the problems during the exams. But that
Mhm.
was enough. Regression problems are very easier, but very easy in the exams. But the thing is, you have to be okay with the topic. You have to read it. You cannot just ignore it. And sample survey was my savior. Basically, as you said that this year I actually solved all the 6 questions correctly. I did, but like, because I knew that the interview would not be there and it would be very important to do well in this half. Uh, I Other than that, I would say that, like, if you say about the exam strategies, I would say that there are, like, you have to be okay with everything, because in MStat you don't really know. Like, I was more confident with hypothesis testing and estimation than with sample survey and regression. But in the exam time, I found that the estimation and testing of hypothesis is actually very difficult. I did this sample survey and linear regression. So you have to be okay. You have to be very confident with the stats questions. And as Soham mentioned, with the writing the thing, yeah, you have to write it very properly and very cleanly, mentioning everything. That is a very point, and you have to be serious while writing. Like, you have to be written properly. It has to be picture perfect in that way. Like everything, not picture perfect, not does not mean in handwriting, but it means that write everything, every step properly. What result you are using, everything. I would suggest looking at the syllabus which is
Perfect.
in the website.
So personally, I feel as a student that if you're quite confident for IIT JAM, I think you're also quite confident for ISI MStat. I personally feel that because in IIT JAM, although you have a for preparation, you have a chance of leaving out some topics. But if you prepare for IIT JAM entirely with your topics and everything, I don't think there's much difference from the topics except a few what Vishal told, like regression ka inference part and sample survey part. So yeah, sample survey debargo is important because for ISI MStat people, okay, and we will do that in the classes debargo. Since you are students, I don't think you will have a problem, and we will do those parts which are required in the ISI MStat part. And I think, yeah, I think that is only a bit extra. But what do you think? Like, if you want prepares for entirely in IIT for IIT JAM in a very focused way, do you think really ISI MStat requires much more effort? I mean, what do you think?
See, the exams are very different from each other. I would say. I
No, no,
would.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand that, but I'm mostly yes. Okay, so if you're they're different from each other, but what do you think? Like, I mean, if you're so as you've told, you have got a lot of time after IIT JAM. So if
Yeah.
suppose you prepared for in the statistics before IIT JAM, what do you think? Like, maybe it's
See,
not a good case. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that I would be able to solve 3 to 4 problems if I had given the IIM study at the same time as IIT JAM. 4 problems I would have been able to solve, but not six, because as I said, in IIT JAM only my statistics part was so weak. I got only 4 out of 26 question per marks which were allocated to the estimation and testing of hypothesis. So my stats, it seems very poor at that part. So I mean, after this ISI MStat happened, after IIT JAM happened for ISI MStat, I read the certain notes, if you can find it online, of Tanujit Chakravarti. He's currently, I think, a PhD student at ISI. It's available free.
He has got out of it. He has got his PhD degree this year only. He's now a
Yeah,
postdoctoral
yeah,
fellow at IIIT.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that like go through those notes again and again, solve all the problems from 2004 to 2020, and analyze the problems correctly. It's not just like solving a problem and you leave it. Try to think on variations, that what else can the variation, the examiner create a variation of this problem. See, the question is, the problems will not be not be very difficult, but it will just test the skill your skill. It will really test your skill. That is what I want to. It will
So
not
it will
depend on it.
really test your quality of knowledge in statistics and mathematics.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It will. If you have a
Not
good quality knowledge in statistics and mathematics, I think it will really test it. I personally felt so. Shoham and Vishal, what do you think about this?
Uh, yeah, basically, for IIT JAM, you mainly focus on solving problems in more or less. The inference part is not that deep. You can say the problems are quite very basic, basically. So in for ISI, I would suggest that you should read inference more seriously, and also you need to study high school math a bit, so that you don't get stuck in PSA problems, because there are
Yeah, high school mathematics
significantly
constitutes about
many problems in
14% of the total
high school.
topic. Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's fine,
Combinatorics and
more or
basic
less.
probability is also there. Yeah, combinatorics and probability
Yeah.
milake total there are around 23%. So that's a quite a lot. Okay. So yeah, and regression, testing hypothesis and estimation milake around you have like lot of like 16 plus 5, 23 around. So like mathematics part, probability is a maximum, and then you have real and linear algebra, and then you have estimation, real and linear algebra. I think. I mean probability. real analysis, linear algebra, statistics part, and high school mathematics part in computerics. 25% I think, around equally decided, equally distributed. So I think that's what we have like got out of here. I mean, out of the data. Okay, from all the past years, from 2004, I guess. Okay, so that's a very good suggestion. Um, let's see if I have any other questions. Do you have any changes in the books and other things you will follow for IIT ISI MStat, like, or like, what do you think?
Yeah, regarding the ISI exam, I followed an extra book. It's available in West Bengal. I don't know about the other state. Yeah, it's available in Amazon as well. The Outline of Statistical Theory by, I don't know what's its name, by
Gupta.
Gun Gupta Das Gupta. It's a very good book. Yeah, I found some questions common, and Rohatgi and Saleh, solving Rohatgi and Saleh, I found quite beneficial. Uh, like I found many problems common in the previous year's paper, uh, in the Rohatgi and Saleh book. So these two books, along with Mood Rebels and Castle the two standard books, along with, and one more thing I would like to add, this Cheenta has solved like all the questions regarding all the questions in PSB statistics. So along with that, they also give something, I don't know, an extra question. Srijita, what's it's called?
Oh, food for thought. Yeah, so I
Food for
remember.
thought.
Let me tell you
Yeah.
that. So we have started this Cheenta program 1 year back, almost not 1 year back, 8-9 months back. So I have personally thought that why don't, like, we are sitting in lockdown, why don't we start solving the questions of past year IIT ISI MStat? And I have started solving them and uploading our website, and I have just shared in the Facebook big group that we have now, and all of us, I think, they are there. And there Vishal started to comment very good stuff, like, we have what we thought, that not only solving a question matters, but how we can, like, develop and get more out of a question, making different questions. That's indulges your research and problem solving skills. So we thought of giving extra food for thought questions, that how we can make questions out of those questions, and we gave those questions as food for thought. So Vishal solved it very like diligently. I like that. And yeah, so I think it has helped him. What do you think?
Yeah, I made sure that every time a question came up, like every week or so, the
Every day I
Uttaranda,
get.
or every day, Uttaranda or Pravat, they uploaded a question, they gave a solution, and the solutions were quite nice. It helped me a lot in my essay preparation. And along with that, the food for thought, I made sure that I solved them regularly, and it helped me to like improve my concept and my problem solving skills as well. So I think if you are preparing for ISI exam, so you should definitely check it out, and I'm sure it would help you a lot.
So do you
This
think,
Cheenta
Vishal, we
course.
should start a similar thing for IIT Jam also?
No, regarding the IIT JAM. So I personally I found the combinatorics portion in IIT JAM easier compared to ISI, and for that, and I needed help for these portions in the ISI exam. So I found your like these food for thoughts and uh, these questions that you uh, posted in the group. I found them quite helpful.
Thank you so much, Vishal. And yeah, so I'm glad you are a part of Chinta now, in terms of giving your knowledge, sharing your knowledge to the students. Yep. So Shom and Saptarshi, how did you prepare for ISI MStat? Because what about the mock test and the questions, apart from the past year questions? What do you think? Because that's an important part. Shoham and Shom.
Basically, for ISI, I didn't give any mock tests. I only focused on solving the previous year's questions. And
There are no mock tests
mm,
actually. ISI MStat.
yeah, so okay, the mock tests don't matter basically because you have ample time to solve problems. There are only 30 problems in you 30 or
Yeah.
30 problems for 2 hours, right? So
Yeah.
that's not an issue. Time is not a factor there, but all you need to do is to you need to brush up your high school math, and you need to focus on inference more and probability theory more, because I personally think probability theory questions are much trickier in the PSB part uh,
Yeah.
compared to other sections. So I would suggest you. There are quite a few lemmas in Rohatgi which are given as results, but they don't have a proof. Okay, so I would suggest that if you read a particular topic, you try to prove those lemmas yourself, or look up in the internet for proofs, because the proofs are not that difficult. Okay, so those problems have already occurred in ISI, so that's why I think it would be a good practice. Otherwise, it's more or less the same, the preparation
Oh.
strategy.
So what do you think are some good books for high school mathematics part? All Olympiad level mathematics is required for ISI MStat. So Soham is in and Soham, I
Oh,
think Soham and Saptarshi are in
Olympiad
very good.
math is too much hard. I think Saptarshi can uh, comment on this more appropriately.
Uh, so I start with the question that some high school maths. See, that as Soham said, or actually have said this, that it is very important to be okay with the high school math, because high school maths. See, if you just learn, if you just know everything properly, two questions you can surely solve. And these two questions are actually easy. They're easy questions in PSB. The questions are easy. Section A. And about the Olympiad level mathematics, see, officially, I would say that Olympiad level mathematics, even in RMO, the regional level, it's very difficult in respect to ISI MStat. But yeah, knowing certain things related to that helps. But as such, I don't think that Olympiad level mathematics is required for ISI MStat. You surely need to know certain things. Like I would say, the only thing you can follow is combinatorics, because that is like see, it is calculus again. It's not analysis. Analysis is not asked for ISI MStat. It's calculus. And linear algebra is there. Only the part which can relate to Olympiad level is combinatorics. So you can try to follow that, as do as much as you can, but I don't think that you can just try to follow the certain kinds of books which is needed for Olympiads. If you can't do the hard problems, it's okay. Just do the easy ones or the moderate ones. Try to do that. I think that should be enough.
So good book. Suggested good book.
Suggest a good book. I would say you can read Excursion in Mathematics, the easy problem, challenge and thrill of pre-college
Pre-college is a
mathematics.
very good book because it's a very basic book, but not all of them. There's a very beautiful geometry part of pre-college. I should not go into that. There's a math part of Cheenta, but yeah. So pre-college is a good book, I think, and yeah, I think yeah, you can follow that. But for commentaries, I think if you do Sheldon Ross, is a very good commentaries part. I think it's perfect for you. Sheldon Ross' initial commentaries part is really good for you, I guess. Yeah, so high school mathematics is just like IIT JAM, and you can see the ISI MStat objective problems, okay, and also you can see the high school IIT JAM like IIT JAM ka mathematics portion or ISI ka objective problems. You can do those, solve those problems for MStat, okay, to gain more gain on the high school mathematics part, but don't get flowed away by the beauty of those problems, okay. Like just a okay, so we will Pawan, we will tell about those later on. We will make a different video on that. If we tell that, people will get angry on us that we are wasting their time. So we will just do a different interview video with Soham only, okay, since I think he's the only person who gave interview here. Okay, so we will surely do that before ISI MStat, after the like interview, after the after people got ISI MStat, we will do that. Okay, so Devar was asking if Rohatgi has very, like, main problem is that the book has a lot of problems. So how do you focus on the problems in a book? That's a very good question, I think. I mean, that's also like relevant for you and me who are students actually now. How to really focus on problems, like.
See, Rohad ki other than the book which other than the chapter which has the convergence of all things, convergence chapter, I actually solved the whole Rohad ki probability section. Probability section is like first 6 chapters. I just left out one chapter, but the other problems are really beautiful, and they're really like they challenge your thinking ability, which is very important in PSB. Okay. The Rohat Gisale is very important for the, I think, for the probability section of PSB. Also, the books which Vishal said that are an outline to statistical theory by Gungupta Das Gupta. That book has excellent problems, and those kind of problems are related to mostly probability distributions, not probability in general, probability distributions. And those problems are really the kind of problems you can expect at the exam. I mean, it will not be a very very like astonishing thing if any of those problems any day come in the exam itself, because the problems is so much related to the exams. Obviously, you have to relieve aside certain parts, like the parts in measure theory and stochastic process. But that book is very good. Rohadgi Saleh is a very good book for probability in ISI MStat. And as for statistical inference, Rohadgi Saleh is good. I would say I would prefer Castle. Is actually very compact, and it on testing of hypothesis estimation, those two parts Castle I feel is better, because there are a lot of problems, and you can and if you can solve the problems, the solutions are also available online as far as I feel, but you should try to solve the problem by yourself. While
Yeah.
solving Castle also, you have to filter out a lot of things. It's not that everything is there in the exam from chapter maybe 5 to 8, but that also you have to filter a lot of things. But doing Castle will make your base much better, and you will be in a much better program process to clear the exam.
Yep. You're right. I also feel that. So I mean, like, Castleberger is a very good book. Even we need it now. So a good testing a hypothesis book like this. I'm just showing it because it's in front of my lame, and uh, I love this book actually. Like, a lot of beautiful things, but if you love statistics, you may get like blown away by this. So, yeah. Okay. So last question: if a person, last not last, maybe among the last questions. So if a person starts preparing for ISI MStat now, what will you suggest him or her? Yeah.
Past year's papers and be thorough with whatever you are reading. Like in the last 15 days before the exam, I just read the notes of Tanujit again and again. Just read those things again and again, because that is the base, and the like knowledge about the thing, proper knowledge about the thing is very important. Because proper knowledge, if you don't have, solving some problems won't help. Maybe in exam hall you will get stuck and you will get confused. So you have to have the proper knowledge, you have to discuss, and that's the all part. That's everything, because
Oh,
Cheenta also is a group, I think, in which I was there. We had discussed a lot of problems, different sources. You can also try the see any see technically any paper in ISI, which is MTech. I actually followed MTech. Some program is there, MSQMS in ISI. The every paper of that sort will contain one or two good statistics problems. So it's very good to follow those problems, try them out, try to write them. As Tom said, writing is very important. And also, if you can't solve a problem, if you have made some non-trivial observation about the problem, write that property. That may fetch you some marks, because
yep.
ISI
So
in general,
ISI is a like really
it's
good.
like they value the approach more than the solution.
Yeah. So yeah, perfect. So that makes quite sense. And if you regarding the mock test of ISI, we have started a mock test program for ISI MStat actually, apart from the IIT JAM. So if you're interested, you can let us know. And like, these are the people who have created the mock test. Okay. So like, these are the experts who have created the problems, and I think you will get help by those, and we'll also give the solutions. So yeah, so if you have any other questions, let us know. We can make another video if you want. You have a lot of questions, but I think we have focused a lot of questions in like nutshell to you guys in 1 hour 20 minutes. That's quite good. And thanks, Vishal, Soham, and Saptarshi for your time. And how, like, tell me, how is the preparation going on in IITs and ISI? And like, last, we will end with a question that what are the opportunities after after doing ISI and IIT, and we'll end the session with this. What do you think? Show for IIT.
Look, basically, look for for job related perspectives. I can say that it's IITs are secure more or less. But considering this year,
Tell with
everything
a
is
smile, okay? Don't tell with a that face down. It will be a different vibe.
no.
Okay,
The
go
thing
ahead.
is that everything is uncertain this year, so it is not really an ideal year to comment. So otherwise, I think for job perspective, more or less, IIT Bombay is more reliable, and for research perspective, you can say that IIT Kanpur and ISI, the non-BStat stream, more or less lie on the same ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, And both and for research, you should opt for IIT Kanpur rather than Bombay.
Perfect. So for ISI MStat, I can tell you like a lot of job opportunities, a lot of research stuff. And life is really good if you are like if you're in hostel, especially studying hostel, especially studying. I should add. So so yeah, so a lot of opportunities in ISI MStat and like also in IIT people. Bombay, I think, has a good connection to the exterior world. So I think yeah, very good. The show also got an internship in Ford, right? So yeah, so you can also apply internship in the masters first year, and you can get a lot of opportunities. You can get like yeah. So this year's highest package in ISI was, and this year one of my friends got. He's an INMO awardee though. He's a 56 LPA. Okay, so that's quite a lot. And yeah, so he has gotten a finance firm. Yeah, but it's a startup. Maybe he has to work hard, but yeah, it's very good. I mean, he's the only one to get it. So 56 LP and then down to like 36, maybe, I don't know. I mean, GS and JP Morgan. Okay, so that's a outlier over there. That's the first company that came in ISI for the first time. Okay, so all the best, guys, and thank you for your time so much. I hope, and also thank you for the beautiful questions out here to all the students preparing, and we wish you all the best. Let us know if you need any help from us, any other like if you have any want to make us some videos about it, about any of the things you want, and we will make a video with the interview with Soham after ISI written stuff if he's in like available. I don't know where he will go for PhD. So yeah, so thank you guys, and we will close it down and see you in the next video. As always, stay tuned and stay blessed. Bye bye.